Good evening, Space Monkeys, and welcome to the inaugural Super Bowl post. Super Bowl happened, as you know, and the Super Bowl is the biggest event of all time in all of history. Nothing has ever been more important than the Super Bowl, particularly this Super Bowl, because two random teams out of the 32 in the NFL just happen to be the very best and are now playing each other in a ball game. And this is the most important thing ever. By far, all of our existence before this game was utterly meaningless crap, utterly insignificant. When we watched the game, it was the most important, single, most magnificent moment of our lives. It was everything that we could ever want. And now that it is over, essentially all we have is a slow, gray decline to the grave. Until next year's Super Bowl, which presumably will also be the most important thing to ever happen. Hype, 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 hype. Craziness. So, Super Bowl 49. It was a damn good football game. It was a good halftime show, even though it was Katy Perry. Very bad commercials. It was kind of an iffy sort of experience watching it. I mean, I had a damn good time, as I always do with the Super Bowl. It's kind of hard to have a bad time, unless, of course, it is the Denver Broncos completely collapsing after a historically awesome season, falling apart to complete bullshit, getting destroyed 43-8. That kind of ruins it for me. But the Denver Broncos weren't even in this Super Bowl, so there was no way I was going to go home suicidal. At least there's that. I mean, I already got through my suicidal moment a few weeks ago when they got destroyed by the Colts. And now the Broncos are going to suck for the next 3 to 5 years, at least. And yeah, that's just awful. But luckily this year the Seahawks lost. And that's very healthy for me personally, because I've spent this last year furiously and pathologically hating the Seahawks and Seattle and grunge rock and coffee and basically the entire Pacific Northwest. I despise all of it. Everything you could possibly imagine. It's been a very tough, hateful amount of life for me. And now it's over, because Seattle, too, having learned a very important lesson from the Packers, mainly how to choke in the last few seconds of the game, have now themselves suffered a horrible Super Bowl defeat. And you know what? It was important for us. It was important for America, because really, it sucks enough that there's one team that dominates the sport like the Patriots do. We really don't need fucking two. Alright? Last thing I want to see next year is either the Patriots or the Seahawks in that game. Really, seriously. Because already this was a kind of hard game to justify watching, because it is the two best teams in the league, and neither one of them are the Broncos. So, you know, you just kind of start feeling hateful and envious. And being a sports fan is a very intensive, very emotional experience. It brings out truly the worst of you, and not much of the good. But, however, you do get to go and sit home and watch TV and eat a lot of food and drink a lot of beer. And that's really what the Super Bowl's all about. Not particularly togetherness, though your friends and family can be around. Mostly, you have to tune them out and focus on the entertainment, which is far more important than anything life can ever give us. Because life, as we all know, is a complete waste of time, and none of it matters in comparison to what is happening thousands of miles away for people that we've never met in a sport that none of us would ever be any good at. So there you are, football. Important. Let me start with the game itself. So, this was a fantastic Super Bowl. Probably the best I have seen since maybe the 97 Super Bowl Broncos versus Packers. This was a very, very good Super Bowl. Very close. And it's rare to see a Super Bowl with the teams tied at the half, let alone one where a team comes back from a 10-point deficit and wins the game effectively, and then it looks like Seattle's gonna win in the last 30 seconds of the game, and then they choke and they blow it. So that's fantastic. That is the wonder of football. I'm sure every kind of sport that's worth watching has those kinds of moments, but football is a game, why I particularly love football, is a game that it's all about momentum, it seems like. It is always this moment that no matter how powerful one team looks, no matter what sort of position they are in, They could be right there. There's always a chance that they'll do something really fucking stupid and throw the ball to the wrong guy. Or throw the ball about a foot to the left right into the hands of Malcolm Butler, who will steal the game. So, either way, anyway, this was a very good game of football. I kind of thought the first half was a bit dull, frankly. I mean, the first quarter particularly, nothing really happened other than a pick that Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, which I guess I have to accept now. He's at least tied. And back to my sour grapes point, it really is infuriating to know that Peyton Manning is going to effectively retire either this year or after a miserable season next year, which I'm already predicting is going to be terrible. Call me a pessimist. I'm a realist. The man's old. The Broncos as a team are going through a rebuilding phase now, and it's going to be ugly next year. It really is. It's going to be ugly, and it's going to be sad, and I'm going to have to go and stick through it, because that's what being a fan is like. Sports are misery. It's not just injuries, it's emotional injuries. It's suffering. But now Tom Brady, with 4 Super Bowl rings, I guess makes him tied with Joe Montana, so he really is greatest of all time, effectively. Which is hard to say, because Tom Brady is kind of a douchebag. I mean, he's a handsome guy, he's charismatic-ish, but he is a douchebag. He's the kind of person I never want to be anywhere near. He's kind of like A-Rod, or, who's the wrestler? John Cena. He reminds me a lot of John Cena, especially as he's gotten older. And I did not like any of those people. But, yeah, Tom Brady, whatever. So, first quarter, it was 0-0. Not much energy happening. Second quarter is when things really start going. You got 2 touchdowns both sides, including a touchdown just before the half, which was nuts. And, Russell Wilson, you could say whatever you want about him as a quarterback. He was playing much better than he was against the Packers, where he threw 5 interceptions. Tonight, he only threw 1. And it just so happened to be the one that really counted, because that's how sports works. Anyway, third quarter goes by, fourth quarter time. Patriots are down by 10. This is what looks like the death of this team. I mean, Seahawks offense has not been doing much of anything. They've been kind of running out the clock. They've been a lot of 3 and outs. Marshawn Lynch, you'd think, would be doing more at this point. Not really fired up yet. Tom Brady doesn't seem very fired up yet. It seems like the Patriots offense isn't clicking until the last 5 minutes. All of a sudden, they're only down by about 3. They score a touchdown. There's 2 minutes left in the game. All right? Now it's really close. This is nail-biting territory. Seahawks get the ball. They start running up. Seahawks offense generally in this game looked a lot better. Patriots offense was basically just kind of like little grabs every so often, about 5 yards, 7 yards here, little throws, but it worked. There was nothing spectacular, but it was moving. The Seahawks were the ones that were really making the big plays. For example, this ridiculous, miraculous play that Wilson throws about 40 yards down the field, I don't even remember the number, to Kearse. Now, Jermaine Kearse has his hands up, Patriot defender swats the ball out, Kearse falls over backwards, looks like play's over. Now, one thing about football that no other sport is like is the fact that its ball is shaped in such a way that there is no logical form of physics that the human brain can immediately calculate. Now, it does follow some sort of physics, I'm sure, but mathematically, it would require about a team of 5 physics masters, professors, PhDs to go and tell you exactly how the ball is going to bounce. Average human being has no idea. It'll go anywhere. In this case, it happened to bounce right back into Kearse's hands, who, like a kitty playing with a little ball of yarn, bounced the ball up 1, 2, 3 times before finally managing to catch it on his back. Ridiculous play. Broke my heart because I'm like, oh, fuck, this is it. This is another Seahawks win. And this means I'm just going to have to hate them again next year. I don't know if I can take it. I can't take this level of hate. There's some teams in the NFL who are fun to hate, like the Jets, because they're just wonderfully inept, and it's hilarious every year how terrible they are. Another one that's fun is the Raiders. They're just embarrassingly awful, and it's hilarious. In this case, Seattle's great. And the team is full of pricks, unfortunately. I really like their team's spirit. Russell Wilson seems like an okay guy. Pete Carroll, he kind of has a Wicked Witch of the West kind of face, but he seems generally likable. Bill Belichick has no soul. Yeah, that's the Patriots coach. He has no soul whatsoever. He's a fucking asshole. All right? He's like your really mean math professor or math teacher that you had. Just like a snarling, awful person. I can't stand Bill Belichick. Nobody can. I don't think Mrs. Belichick can stand Bill Belichick. But what I'm talking about here is that it's Richard Sherman, who is just kind of a scumbag. I've never liked Richard Sherman. Though I rather like Tom Brady better, I could probably see myself partying with Richard Sherman before Tom Brady. Not that I'll ever be hanging out with any of these people. And then there's Marshawn Lynch, who is a complete jerk-ass, who has spent this entire season refusing to talk to anybody, eating fines, and then finally, when he does have to do a press conference, he just goes up and says, "No, I'm not talking to any of you. I'm only here because I don't want to be fined. Yeah, I'm not talking to any of you." Yeah. What an asshole. And you know, the Patriots have just been, 2 weeks ago, all but proven to have been cheaters with Deflategate. And as far as I could tell, the hearts and minds of the country were with them over the Seahawks. That's just how much of assholes they've been. You know, that's how bad they are. But anyway, I'm back. I'm off of track. So anyway, Seahawks are in the red zone. 20 yards, maybe. All right? They're really close up. One play, first down. Now they're 5 yards away. They give to Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch is a... how could I best describe him? All right? He was born of a human mother, but she was actually impregnated by a Mack truck. All right? He's about 50% Autobot. All right? He is from the fucking future. If by any chance there is a steam locomotive charging down at you and Richard Sherman is coming the other way, run towards the locomotive because it's going to hurt less. He is unstoppable. So he plows his way through to the 1 yard line. And at this point, the game looks over. In fact, Lynch is so powerful that at this point I was saying the Patriots should just let him have the touchdown. So that way Seattle's only up by 3. They'll still have about 45 seconds. You got a man named Tom Brady. If anyone's doing a Hail Mary pass at that point, it's going to be him. You can manage to get either another touchdown and win the game outright or a field goal and tie it up for overtime. Then you got a chance. In this case, they decide to fight it out, and I thought, oh my god, they just killed themselves. Because 30 seconds pass, because it's a running play, timer's still moving, there's like no time left on the clock, and at this point, all it takes is to get the Godzilla-esque monster known as Marshawn Lynch out on the field, charge forward, and that should be it. That should be all that's left. In this case, they decide that Wilson is going to throw the ball. Why, I don't know. He throws it, and the Patriot catches it, and that's the end of the game, effectively. There's still one kind of tense play where if they had managed to sack Tom Brady, it could have been a safety, then a turnover, maybe. They could have come back after that. There was still the slightest bit of daylight. But then a fight breaks out. A whole bunch of furious Seahawks start barreling down at the line after the play's over, and they start really threatening people. And at this point, Gronkowski swats one of them in the back of the head because I think he'd just been knocked out of the way. And at this point, people start fighting, and it's all of a sudden a brawl in the Super Bowl. You don't really see this. This isn't hockey. And even then, this is the Super Bowl. Everybody's supposed to be on their best behavior. Even the officials, the referees, who have been all over the playoffs. I mean, they have been throwing down flags like crazy. They decided 2 games. They decided the Cowboys-Lions game, effectively. They get the pass interference that wasn't. And then they decided the Cowboys-Packers game by deciding that the catch that wasn't. So the referees have been just screwing up like royally, and in this game, they barely made a sound. I have not seen a game all season with as few referee interference. But here, all of a sudden, everyone's fighting. And for the first time in Super Bowl history, a player gets kicked off the field. This is Bruce Irvin. So that's one way to end your season. But my favorite moment of the Super Bowl happened to be Richard Sherman's face. Because he's looking out, he's watching this throw, and there's kind of this moment of, oh my god, we did it. And then he sees what happens. And then you can kind of pinpoint the moment of utter heartbreak as all of a sudden his face breaks down into this grimace of utter agony of, oh my god, it's like if his mother had exploded in front of him, his face could not have been more devastated. If somebody had taken his beloved childhood puppy and thrown it into a wood chipper, his face of awful defeat could not have been more magnificent. It is now my desktop background, his face of defeat. And you know what? That just makes it all better. Alright? You could go and say I have the worst possible motives on this thing, being an awful Broncos fan, having lived through what looked like a very promising season, having broken apart worse than Peyton Manning's thigh muscle. But still, you know what? That just kind of makes it worth it. And then Tom Brady jumping up and down like a 5-year-old on Christmas morning, having seen that he just won yet another Super Bowl. There you are. Now, I'll just have like an annotation for you to skip ahead, because I know lots of you people, you don't care about Super Bowl. You don't care about football. You don't care about sports. You know, I understand on some level, but you know, sports is kind of the last bastion of masculinity we have. We can't be warriors anymore. We can't be breadwinners anymore. You know, we're not the providers. We're not fighters. Machines have taken everything from us. So what do we got left? Let's go watch some Super Bowl and get drunk. That's it. So, you know, lighten up a bit. Anyway, if you're not into that sort of thing, there was the halftime show. And this was Katy Perry. And immediately, as many people automatically hate football, many people automatically hate Katy Perry. I'm one of them. Katy Perry has not made a song I've particularly liked. Like many pop stars of her generation, it's all kind of tolerable music. Like, I've never really thought there's been very much passion behind any of it. It's all been very, very much calculated and designed. But here's the one thing, they put on a show. Alright, that's what's important. Like last year, Bruno Mars, another musician who means nothing to me, because, you know, ultimate hipster as I am, you know, I'm way too cool for all this sort of stuff, you know. Yeah, I was listening to Lordy before all of you were. Yeah, you know. You know that song, Pumped Up Kicks? Yeah, 6 months before all you people, I was listening to it, yeah. Yeah, you know Fun? Yeah, I was listening to them before you, too. Yeah, I'm just that kind of guy. Yeah, I'll tell you what will be cool next year, but, you know what, I just don't feel like sharing. Yeah, you'll just find out. Just enjoy your Kesha until then. Enjoy that Fat Girl song. I don't remember. All about that beat. All about that bass. Yeah, enjoy that one. So anyway, Katy Perry. She's okay. I mean, she's okay. Her songs are okay. Really, if I have to pick one of these bubblegum pop stars of the 21st century, I'll take Taylor Swift, because her music's more catchy to me. But, however it goes off, Katy Perry put on a damn good show, not because she was Katy Perry. She was essentially the main prop in the midst of the most ridiculous Broadway production I think I've ever seen. So, she gets led on stage in the style of an ancient Achaemenid Persian emperor, where she's being led on a giant lion puppet, an animatronic robot machine, while she's wearing what looks like some sort of a fire supervillain costume. And for all of you hoping for a wardrobe malfunction, unfortunately Katy Perry the entire night did not show any cleavage whatsoever. So no, wasn't happening. Not like Beyonce a couple years ago. Oh well. I thought Beyonce had put on a way better halftime show. Beyonce is legitimately a great musician. And I say that now knowing that probably someone's going to throw garbage in my face, but whatever. It doesn't matter. So, one of the themes about this halftime show is what I'd call literalness. So, she sings a song about a tiger and she's on top of a giant African cat. She sings fireworks, and what do you know? She's flying in the sky on a shooting star. What was that? A drone? Some sort of a wire thing that has her floating around. And there's fireworks going off, and there's dudes with balls that are all like they have like LED giant balls that they're holding up that change colors that look like fireworks. And when it comes to California girls, she's standing in this like drugged out Japanese kind of style dance thing where there's people dressed like the trees, there's people dressed like the beach balls, and the best are the sharks. The people dressed like the sharks whose mouths open up and down with the song. So the sharks are singing along way fucking out of key, though how could you possibly keep up when you're inside of a giant like a theme park character costume? Though, I do know what I want to be for Halloween this year, and that's one of Katy Perry's sharks. I loved those sharks, and that's why I like this show, ultimately. One thing, though, is despite how literal this show was, when it came to I Kissed a Girl, Katy Perry did not actually kiss a girl. Instead, Lenny Kravitz came out. And, yeah, remember Lenny Kravitz? No, I don't remember Lenny Kravitz either. Who is Lenny Kravitz again? I do not remember this dude. He's one of those names that I know, and I cannot for the life of me remember who he is. I even knew that he was going to show up. And everyone's like, oh, who's going to be there? I'm like, oh, it's going to be Larry... What the fuck? I can't... Oh, yeah, Lenny Kravitz. That's... Like, I couldn't even remember until the guy showed up. And Missy Elliott was there, in case you remember 1996. She's there. And she, like, all right, Katy Perry didn't do, like, amazing dancing at any point. I liked her 1950s kind of beach movie motif that she had going. But the backup dancers behind Missy Elliott, who were mostly out of frame, were doing ridiculous dancing, just flipping all over the place. They were like, drugged up to the ass. I don't know what was going on. They were spinning in the air. Can human beings move like that? That was really impressive stuff, and you couldn't see it behind Missy Elliott. But anyway, the halftime show was okay. It was a good show. I mean, I don't know if it was better than last year. I'm not really the kind of person to rank them when it comes up, but, you know, it was a good concert. It would be a lot of fun to be there. Hell, you know, I'm not even a big Katy Perry fan, but I'm sure that no matter what you think of modern music, these people can put on a damn good show. Like, I would actually want to see a Taylor Swift concert. Not the least of which is because I'm slightly in love with Taylor Swift because she's absolutely beautiful, but what are you going to do? Anyway, moving on, let's talk about advertisements. This is probably what matters the most to my particular readership, I suspect. You're not really Super Bowl guys, you're not really Katy Perry guys, but when it comes to funny Super Bowl advertisements, I'm sure there's something there. Now, the advertisements for the 49th Super Bowl are probably the worst I have ever seen in my entire life. This was such a bad year. And in a lot of ways, the ads for the Super Bowl are so hyped up and have been for a long time, it's almost impossible not to be disappointed by them. It's just like, you know, it's something you're expecting so much. It's like, yes, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to laugh at all these funny Doritos commercials and these great Budweiser commercials, and it's going to be funny, and it's going to be really impressive. And I'm sure ad men have to look forward to this night more than anyone else, like copywriters and all them, because this is basically their Oscars, what's going on. This is like when they get to let loose, when millions and millions of dollars are being poured in. And, you know, you're expecting it to be a lot of fun and interesting and high energy. And for some reason, the advertisements this year were so dark and depressing. What the fuck? What was going on? I mean, I understand kind of the There was one ad where it was really mocking the idea of like a girl, like you say, you run like a girl, you hit like a girl, that sort of stuff. I understand where that's coming from. I understood the domestic violence one because we're right after Ray Rice, so the NFL for months now has been playing damage control on the Ray Rice business. That's why the playoffs have been suffused with these awful No More commercials where you have like actors will show up and they'll pretend to cry in front of the camera, and then at the end, no more domestic violence. The most insufferable of which is Hilary Swank. I never really liked Hilary Swank, but she has like the most phony friggin' cry. Like, you could just, you're not really crying. I could see some production assistant just kind of going and putting like little water droplets in your eye. Get the fuck out of here, Hilary Swank, as if you honestly give a shit. I do not think you do. So, no more, I understand where that's coming from, but where did all this, like, touchy-feely come from? Like, I understand, alright, everyone's going for jokes, so let's juke left. Let's go for something momentous and kind of important. So, I got the Carnival Cruise thing, where they had a JFK speech, and lots of really great visuals of cruises being digitally placed in things. Like, alright, that was an okay commercial. But let's talk about the worst ads, alright? So some of the worst touchy-feely ones was, let's go with first one, the Cats in the Cradles. This is a Nissan ad. It's all about this dad who's a Nissan NASCAR racer, which, is so important to the modern experience, I remember when my dad was a Nissan NASCAR racer, and the song Cats in Cradles plays, which may be my least favorite song of all time. Just this really sappy 1960s kind of song. Not a big fan of that at all. And it's like, it's so, alright, daddy's too busy racing to be together with me. Nissan's tearing my family apart, but then at the end it's like, look, dad is a Nissan and he's home. What does this mean? Are Nissan's good or bad? I don't get it. Another one that was really bad was the McDonald's commercial, where McDonald's was, if you go into the store, I guess you could call it restaurant, but it's hard to go inside. You go into the fast food joint, they'll let you get your food for free if you call up like your mom or something, and yeah, I love you, mom, and then they'll give you the food for free. So McDonald's is all about togetherness and families or whatever. Meanwhile, it's paying millions of employees basically nothing to work for them. But they're all about families and stuff. By far the worst, though, the worst ad of the entire night, and you know what it is because everybody knew immediately, was the Nationwide commercial. Nationwide, you're gonna die. What the hell was this? It's this little boy telling us basically what his life is going to be like, or everything he's not going to do. So it looks like a cute little kid commercial. There's a lot of CG whimsy, including little Optimus Primes. And like, okay. And then at the end he's like, oh yeah, because I died. Because you didn't buy Nationwide insurance. I don't understand. Like, if I get Nationwide insurance, my kids aren't going to die? And, this is really stuff I need to be reminded of, Oh, yeah, it's fun times at the Super Bowl. Oh, yeah, remember all those little kids who don't get to grow up now? Some of us actually have experience in that, and we have to live with those kinds of scars every day. Every single day, you remember these things. So thank you, Nationwide. I'm sure that next time when I don't know what you're trying to prove, when I'm thinking of life insurance, I'll think of you. Fuck you. Seriously. But it wasn't the worst ads, alright? There were plenty of bad ones also. Like, Chevy had an ad where they pretended that your TV cut out. So, taking a cue from the end of The Sopranos. Thank you, that's adorable. One of the most bloated, terrible ads of the night was the Mercedes Tortoise and the Hare one, where it's the tortoise and the hare story. except the hare is just running, but the tortoise goes and runs and gets a Mercedes, and looks like he's about to run over the hare, which would have been a great dark conclusion to that. Like, oh, squat, dead, haha, bitch. Instead, he is a girl rabbit, so he's gonna have like some weird fucking bestiality shit going on. All of a sudden, Lola Bunny is gonna fuck Myrtle the turtle. Okay. Apparently that's what's happening. What's great about this is I could tell that some animator firm spent like tens of millions of dollars on this stupid commercial. What for, I don't know. Like, alright, let's just spend $10 million on this crap. And one of the worst was the Kate Upton Game of War. Is that what this is called? Alright, Kate Upton naked in a bathtub. I'm okay there. I can see what's going on. Kate Upton in a Boris Vallejo metal bodice on a horse with her boobs bouncing up and down. Yeah, I can understand what's going on here. As for Game of War, no. Any commercial for Game of War immediately is despicable. The people that make Game of War are the lowest scum on the planet. All right, they're like Coney levels of evil. They're as bad as ISIS on some level in terms of the amount of life and soul they suck out of the world for their own greedy, awful gains. People who run these games, kill yourself. I'm saying it in all seriousness. Kill yourself. Yeah. All right, you don't have to actually kill yourself, okay? You are providing a service that people are getting some kind of sick enjoyment out of, but you are scamming people. So maybe consider it. You don't have to kill yourself, but mutilate yourself for your sins, which are sins. Okay? Go back to your big mansions, but don't have an eye or cut off an arm. Something. Do something. Show the world that you at least recognize the zit that you are upon the face of humanity. Okay? So, now that I'm kind of mad, again, I don't know why the commercials brought so much negativity out of me. It wasn't like they were the worst in all of Super Bowl history. Let's talk about some good ones. Okay, Real Life Pac-Man. I think this was a Budweiser commercial. I don't even remember. It was some sort of beer commercial. A guy goes into a bar, and then he's like, I'm up for anything. It's kind of like that really long ad last year where a guy goes on like a minute-long adventure. Except in this case, he's thrown into a party where he has to play Pac-Man for real against what are clearly computer-generated enemies, but I don't know, whatever. It was fun. It looks like actually a cool thing to do. Something that someone should actually make. That'd be fun to do. Someone should make a theme park out of old arcade games. It'd be fun. Another good one was a Newcastle beer commercial. Again, beer commercials. Interesting. So, I don't know if this actually aired on TV. I had to go look for this one because, I was busy eating. We had lobster sliders. It was fantastic. We had grilled salmon and big slabs of bacon. It was a delicious meal last night. I'm going to tell you seriously. That was the best part of the night. But anyway, this is Newcastle beer, and what's happening here is that it's a couple, they're trying to shill the beer, but also they have to shill about like 40 other products at the same time, making fun of how ridiculous this whole thing is. So like they'll run around and they're like talking about this and bounties over here, and they're showing that my quilted northern whatever and this and that and everything, and it was a really fun high energy commercial. In terms of heartstring tugging commercials, the Budweiser Puppy and Clydesdale commercial. That was great. It's virtually the same ad that they ran last year, but I don't care. I like puppies and I like beautiful Clydesdale horses. So, that's fun. That's called, it's adorable and lovely and slightly slower, but, I don't want to cry now. I don't feel awful having seen that. Meanwhile, by the way, Budweiser had another really terrible commercial where they were talking about craft beers and how terrible they are. Like, yeah, I don't need my pumpkin spice beer. I'm just going to drink my Bud. All right, that's all I need. And, Meanwhile, I'm watching this commercial while I am drinking a Sierra Nevada limited release hoppy 30-point IPA, something along those lines. It was delicious, great beer. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll take my Sierra Nevada over your Budweiser. That's just fine. Not to say that there isn't a place for Budweiser in the world, all right? It does taste like dirty dishwater. Like you could get the same taste by sucking out a dish rag. But there is a place for Budweiser in this world. It's called beer pong. All right? It's not beer you drink for pleasure. It's beer that you drink out of drinking competitions. Okay? Anyway, another great one was Clash of Kings with Liam Neeson, where Liam Neeson, I know I was just complaining about these sorts of ads or whatever, but it's Liam Neeson getting so mad that he goes and he does a Taken rant. Like, I have a series of skills. I'm going to find you, and I'm going to kill you. I'm going to rip out your heart, and I'm going to stab your brain. Then I'm going to find your children, and I'm going to kill them too. Then I'm going to find your mother, and I'm going to rape her. Then kill her. Then rape her again. And I don't think he said any of that, because I couldn't really understand what he was saying, because it's Liam Neeson's growl while in the middle of a party. But I thought it was funny. But still, since Liam Neeson is shilling one of these games, I guess he also has to go and mutilate himself for his sins. Oh well. I could kind of deal with a mutilated Liam Neeson before a mutilated Kate Upton. Anyway, finally, best ad of the night was the Snickers Brady Bunch ad, which has been the you're not yourself when you're hungry kind of deal, except this time it's the Brady Bunch. So Danny Trejo is playing Marcia. And this is like the one ad that actually made me laugh. It's like legitimately laugh. So the parents are sitting there, and Danny Trejo is going and complaining about his problems. So when they get mad, he takes out a hatchet and he just slams it into the table. Danny Trejo, this was great. And so, you know, he eats the Snickers, and there was some very awkward editing to go and make Carol, what was her name? I don't know what the Brady Bunch mom's name is. Mrs. Brady, not obviously they didn't get Mrs. Brady back to life to go and record these lines. I don't know if she's dead or not, but they didn't turn her back to her 1970s persona. So they kind of cut away when she's talking and saying stuff that's not from this show. Anyway, we're back to Marcia. And then who walks up but Steve Buscemi? Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. Oh, that's a great punchline. That's what a Super Bowl ad should be. Not dead little boys. Thank you. Finally, that leaves me to the final point of the Super Bowl business, and that is movie trailers. The Super Bowl is a big moment for you to go and showcase what you have running for the rest of the year. Interestingly, Marvel wanted nothing to do with the Super Bowl this year. I mean, I guess they didn't really need it, because Avengers 2 is... that trailer is probably the most watched trailer of all time. Star Wars didn't need it because everyone already knows that a Star Wars movie's coming out. Still, I would have liked to have seen a Star Wars trailer because so far we know nothing about the movie other than there's a black stormtrooper in it and there's a dude with a ridiculous lightsaber. I would have liked to have seen more. But there were a few okay trailers. I'll start with the bad ones. First up, there was Step Up something, who cares? I don't remember. It has Anna Kendrick and the fat chick from Bridesmaids. Not that one, the other one, the Australian one. Yeah. Another one was Terminator Genesis. Oh my goodness. Just give up. All right, Terminator, give up. This was never really meant to be a franchise. Honestly, the first movie holds up on its own. The fact the second movie happened at all, okay, I can accept that. Terminator 3 makes no sense. Terminator 4 made no sense. Now they're rebooting, I guess, but now there's an old Arnold Schwarzenegger? I don't understand. Why is there an old Arnold Schwarzenegger fighting a young one? And then some guy who looks like Jet Li but isn't Jet Li. And one thing that you have not seen in this trailer is the fact that this movie is actually going to star Jai Courtney. And the last thing we need is more Jai Courtney in this world. So Terminator Genesis is going to suck. A better trailer was one for Tomorrowland. I'm not really. I mean, I've already seen this trailer before. It was actually a very good trailer. It's some sci-fi movie. I don't really know what this is about yet. Some girl finds like a little pin, presses it, and gets on a magical adventure with George Clooney. One thing this trailer did tell us, though, is that Hugh Laurie's in this movie. So, been a while since I saw Dr. House in anything, so good to see him. One of my favorite trailers, and I think this might be all of them, because there really weren't that many. It was amazing how many movies decided not to show up. It was strange. I figured at least we'd get like an Ant-Man trailer or something. Just like some stupid movie that needs to get shilled now. But I guess a stupid movie that needs to get shilled now, we got Ted 2. Now, Ted 2 is going to be bad. I'm telling you that now. There's weird issues going on. For example, Mila Kunis is gone. She's been replaced by Amanda Seyfried. I don't know what's up with that. But one of the plots is that Ted, being a little teddy bear person, wants to go and get his South Boston girlfriend pregnant, and he needs sperm. So in this trailer, they go and they break into Tom Brady's house. And they try to go and, I guess, rape him? And while they lift up the sheets, it's golden, because it's Tom Brady. That was great. That was funny. That was on topic. This is probably the second funniest trailer of the night. Though, the truly funniest trailer of the night, sorry Danny Trejo, Brady Bunch, I was wrong. I'm going back on it. The funniest trailer of the night goes to Furious 7, Fast and Furious 7. The new one where Jason Statham is going to go around and presumably kill off Paul Walker's character, because Paul Walker is dead in real life, but whatever. In this one, I don't know what the plot is. I don't know how this happened. And as a matter of fact, there's no good explanation for how this ever could have happened. But Vin Diesel is in a red Lamborghini. He drives out the window of like the 80th floor of a skyscraper. And I just see this and I immediately lose my shit and burst out laughing for a good 5 minutes. He flies through the air, crashes into another skyscraper. How did the car get up there? And of all ways to get down, why that one? And alright, the Fast and Furious movies have already descended into this wonderful kind of self-parody Looney Tunes physics, but that was amazing. I'm really looking forward to this movie. But the trailer that meant the most to me, the movie I'm most looking forward to out of them all, is Jurassic World. Alright, when I first saw the Jurassic World trailer, I was a little Now, it's growing on me. I mean, it's got Chris Pratt, who apparently owns Hollywood now. He's like in he's fronting like 5 different franchises, including they want to make him Indiana Jones. I think that's enough. I think it's okay. The guy, I don't know how he's managing to do it. He might actually be a pair of twins, like in The Prestige. It's just nobody knows. He's working like 5 different films at once. So Chris Pratt's there, and he apparently leads a band of like police velociraptors, which is kind of awesome. And the girl is some pretty redhead who I had to look up because I couldn't recognize who she was. She's the bad guy from Twilight 1. She's the bad redhead vampire. Remember that? The one that was dating Cam Gadanget? Remember Cam Gadanget? That's a name you don't hear very often anymore. So, Jurassic World, it looks amazing. I can't wait for it. I was on the fence because Jurassic Park 3 sucks so much, but yeah, you know what? You got me. You got me. I want to see it. All right, fine. You win, Hollywood. I want to see Jurassic World. So that was the Super Bowl. I'm sure you watched it, so me spending about a half hour or longer, God, who knows how long I spent, going to recapping it for you isn't going to change your opinion. So I don't know what the point of this was other than I really like the Super Bowl and I want to talk about it. This week coming up, there's more posts and stuff, so stay around. Oscar stuff is coming at the end of this month. I forgot all about the Oscars when I was doing my look ahead. So, yeah, I'll have to go and make predictions. Boyhood's gonna win, but Birdman might. There's always a chance Birdman might win. But I'm off topic. I'm way off topic. Super Bowl's over. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life until August when football comes back. I don't know. I guess I'll just cryogenically freeze myself because there's really nothing worth living for now. So anyway, thanks for listening. You're a great crowd. Love you, Space Monkeys. Keep hanging around and comment if you can. Thank you.